Alright, we have the Girl Doctor tutorial going on right now. Here she is set up on my machine. I have cutaway stabilizer on and my towel already set up in position. So the first one is the placement for her hair. You can do the placement by itself or just put your fabric on. I'm just going to put my fabric on and do the placement and the tack downs together. I'm using brown fleece for her hair. And so I'm going to just load it onto top of my towel and press go. And when it's finished, I will trim it and be right back. Alright, so we have her hair all done and trimmed. The next part is her face. So I am again using fleece for her face. And I'm just going to stick it in there. It has a placement stitch if you need it there. I'm just going to put it on top and do the placement and the tack down together. So I'll let it stitch out twice and then I will be right back. Alright, her face is stitched out and I trimmed it and now it is her headband. And I am using a purple glitter sheet. So I'm just going to stick it on there over top of her hair. Again, you can do it has a tack down and a placement, so you can do just the tack down, or just the placement first, so you know where it's at if you want to, or like I do, I cut a big enough piece that'll cover her entire hair, so I'm not worried about missing it, and I just do it both at the same time. So it's going to stitch out the placement and the tack down, and then I'm going to trim it, and I'll be right back. Alright, her headband is stitched out. I have trimmed it up. And the next part it's going to do is it's going to do the satin stitching around the headband. So I'm going to satin stitch that out. And then it's going to go on to the eyes and the face. And so I won't put any WSS on until the eye part. It's not a necessity, but it always looks nicer when you're using a thick plush, like fleece type thing. And so I'll do all of that. I'll let it stitch all of the eyes, the eyebrows, the freckles, all of the easy stitches out. And then I will be back to show you where to tack down the braids, and how to do that. And so I will be back in just a few. Alright, so it is satin stitched around everything. We have her headband, her flower, her eyes, her eyebrows, her freckles. Everything's in place, and now we are ready to do her braids. Now, if you're using fleece, they are 1 inch wide, and it will stitch right underneath her ear down to the base of her face. So that it's 1 inch wide, and you can just place it over top just like that. Burp. There's a tack down and there's the placement as well. Both of them are there. So if you don't feel comfortable just placing it there and going, you can do the placement stitch first and then the tack down for the braids. So they are both in the same step. So I have them, I'll set them up like that. Again, you can do the placements first and then the tack down. So I'm going to start my machine, tack it all down in place, and be right back. Alright, so it's just finished tacking these in place. So I am going to take my scissors, and I'm going to trim as close as possible to those tack downs for both sides. Then we'll pull her off and we'll braid her piggies. So I'm going to trim that, and then it's going to do the satin stitch around her face and around her hair. So I will do that, and then I will be right back because I'll show you how to braid her braids. Okay, so she's done, and so we're going to pull her off. Now I've already undone the bottom part, but I stuck her back on there, so then you were like, oh, okay, she's done. So I'm going to pull her over here. Okay. So here's our gorgeous little girl doc. Alright, so pulled her over here. Pull some fuzzies off of her. And I will trim the stabilizer down, of course. But right now I'm just going to show you her braids. So I want her to have cute little tiny braids. So I'm going to trim them about there. You can trim them however, whatever length you want. I just want her to have cute little tiny ones. And if you're using yarn, you can use yarn or you can use fleece, whichever one you want to do. If you use fleece, like I said, it's about 1 inch. Yarn, it's the same width, of course, but I don't know how many yarn pieces you can fit in there. So I'm just cutting the 3 strands, if I can do this one-handed, cutting 3 strands for her hair. This one seems a little longer, so we'll trim that off. So at the base of her braid, after I'm done braiding it, I will run it through the sewing machine, just do a straight stitch to keep it in place, and then add a little thing on it. So of course you just braid it like a normal braid, and I can't braid one-handed. So I'm going to braid her hair, and then I will be back to show you how she looks after her hair is braided. All right, so there she is with her cute little braids, and I trimmed the stabilizer on the back. Her cute little piggy braids. So, like you would any other hooded towel, you would fold it over, make it bend in the middle. There we go. Fold it over, sew across here. If you want it to be a curved, not a point, you would make a little U shape here at the top. This will curve it, and then stitch it back, and then stitch across the base when it's this way on your towel. So that is how to make your Girl Doctor hooded towel. The next part 2, will be doing her pocket for her jacket. That'll be on the base of the bath towel. So I'll see you in a few minutes over at part 2.